take control of the airwaves here, and you can bring up absolutely anything that you want to discuss. Our toll-free number tonight, again, 855-450-FREE, and our Skype username, should you wish to Skype into the show, is lrn.fm. So feel free to connect with us in whatever way works best for you. So coming up here tonight, we've got the latest on the tragedy in Venezuela, the ongoing human destruction and tragedy as wrought on innocent people by their own government, their socialist government. We'll tell you about that coming up here in moments. But coming up here first, Darryl, you had a story about an elderly couple that was busted with quite a bit of cannabis. I saw the headline.
Just a little bit.
But I didn't actually read this story. It did look like an interesting headline. So what and where and how and all of that? What's going on?
Story comes from the Washington Post. They say the elderly couple caught driving through rural Nebraska with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cannabis in their vehicle. They were simply spreading holiday cheer. 60 pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot of cheer.
Patrick Giron and Barbara, 80 and 83, were pulled over Tuesday during a traffic stop by deputies in the York County Sheriff's Department who made a shocking discovery: 60 pounds of high-grade cannabis in their pickup truck.
I would love to know how they discovered that. I wish there was some kind of video footage of this particular encounter, because it would have been pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah. The couple from Northern California told authorities they were en route to Vermont and that the marijuana was for Christmas presents.
60 pounds of it?
60 pounds. Well, got to take cannabis to all the good boys and girls in Vermont.
Where's the source of this story?
Washington Post.
Wow.
Who cites a statement from the police plus New York Times. The couple were taken in on charges including possession with the intent to distribute, according to the newspaper. Of course they were going to distribute. It was Christmas presents. You don't give a Christmas present without actually distributing the present.
I hope that we see these people not take a plea deal on this, although already obviously they've admitted to knowing the marijuana was there and admitting to having some level of control over it. So it's not going to be an easy trial, but then again, they are in their 80s, and
Correct.
So it may be possible, even in Nebraska.
Sympathetic jury.
Right.
I don't want to send grandma and grandpa to prison for the rest of their natural life.
Because that's pretty much what would happen if they were convicted. And again, remember, juries do not decide the sentence, so they would just decide to find them guilty, and then the judge would decide.
Well, there are some places and some cases where juries do determine a sentence.
Really? On felony counts?
I believe on certain things.
Are there certain state courts that do that?
Yeah.
Or?
I know with Florida and the death penalty, a jury gets to decide that.
I see.
So I don't know how that necessarily plays out to other charges, but I do know that in certain circumstances, juries do have a say on what the sentence is.
Gotcha.
And, well, we know here in New Hampshire and other states where the jury is not even allowed to know what the possible sentence is.
Right.
Don't know if that's the case in Nebraska. And the article says while multiple states have legalized cannabis, Nebraska has not. In 2015, Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts called the substance a dangerous drug, saying, quote, as the use of marijuana has been legalized in some states, including our neighbor Colorado, we've been able to observe the impact the legalization of marijuana has had not only on their state, but as well as our own. Legalization of marijuana for any purpose has proven to be a risky proposition because the controls placed on its use in other states have fallen short.
Fallen short how? Exactly. I mean, Colorado is bringing in more revenue from cannabis sales than alcohol sales, I believe, at this point.
Right, and they're not spending money on incarcerating people for possessing or selling.
Police can investigate real crimes because they're not busy with, well, I mean, in theory they could, because they're not busy arresting college students or others for possession of cannabis.
Yeah. So the article does mention about the stop itself. It says, when deputies pulled over I'm guessing this is Gyrons. I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Oh,
Jiron. So I'm just going to say the couple. When deputies pulled over the couple along Interstate 80 on Tuesday, they, quote, smelled raw marijuana and conducted a probable cause search, discovering the weed in boxes in the pickup topper.
Damn.
Authorities estimate the value at $336,000.
Damn, that's a lot of pot.
Asked whether 60 pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Asked whether the couple were still in custody Friday afternoon. A woman who answered the phone at the jail simply stated, "They're not here."
All right.
Doesn't say where they are.
Yeah.
Whether they were given bail, whether they were, otherwise just released on PR, just quote unquote, they're not here.
Yeah, this is a smuggling tactic that I have been aware of in the past. The idea is you use people to smuggle who the cops aren't going to suspect. And this is a pretty good one, right? Because how many times are they going to really expect that an elderly couple is going to be a marijuana trafficker?
Right.
In this case, it may simply have been that the smell of the marijuana was really there, right? Like sometimes you question,
right?
Like when they busted Damo Freeman. Now, I didn't see what that situation was, but Ademo from copblock.org, the founder of CopBlock, he got popped like a year ago, I think it was like a year ago, for 26 pounds of cannabis. But I suspect that was sealed up and that it wasn't just, sitting in bags and boxes, which maybe that's what was going on with these older folks, was they just didn't have like vacuum sealing going on. Because if it's vacuum sealed or double vacuum sealed, ain't no way a cop's smelling that.
Right.
So anyway, I just always thought that was an interesting tactic, and this is the first time I've actually ever heard of an older couple getting popped for it, because they're so like, I don't know what the right word is, not indescribable, but so commonplace, so normal, right? Like this is an elderly couple. They're just going to visit their family for Christmas and have a nice night, folks. Wave them on through, kind of thing.
And it was actually the York News Times out of York, Nebraska, not the New York Times, that had this. You could see how the New York Times, York New Times.
That's funny.
They've got a picture.
Of the old folks?
Not of the old folks.
Of the marijuana?
Of the cannabis.
Okay.
So,
is this the cops, the picture they always take where they're bragging about how much they busted, and they like lay out a bunch of cash and lay out the pot?
No cash.
Well, right, 'cause they just had the pot. They already spent the cash.
Bunch of bags.
Yep.
And the sort of the large cheesy popcorn container.
Yeah.
They've got one of those that's completely full of cannabis.
Okay.
And, of course, the dog sitting in front of all of this.
Man.
And
they said they were going to Vermont. Somebody's pretty bummed out in Vermont right now.
It looks like there's some baby food containers. I don't know if they're just using that to prop up some of the bags, or if they also had little baby food jars with cannabis in it. And they've got just generic cardboard boxes that some of this is sitting on and in.
Yes, here we are in the 21st century now, where, solidly into the 21st century at this point. And yes, people are still going to prison and being arrested across the United States for possession of a plant. In this case, 60 pounds of a plant. But regardless, it's still the same principle, whether it's a quarter ounce or a pound.
The York New Times has a clarification. Barbara is 70, not 80.
Oh, well, that makes a difference.
But Patrick is 83. Or 80, amazing. Not 83.
I hope that they don't just take a plea deal on this one, although I imagine they will be offered a very nice plea deal, because the police will not want, the prosecutor
You're 9 billion years old, we'll let you go home.
Yeah, they will not
probation
put this in front
forever.
of a jury. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. You can join us here. Are they going to legalize mushrooms next? We'll tell you about it.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash at dash.org and help build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org.
You've heard of Bitcoin Cash, but did you know there's now a Bitcoin Cash wallet? The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. Shop online and support Free Talk Live. Every purchase you make at shop.freetalklive.com helps spread a message of liberty. From shop.freetalklive.com, you can shop at places like Walmart, Newegg, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Omaha Steaks, HostGator, and more. Plus, you can get discounts on web hosting, legal documents, or pretty much anything using saveatpurse.com. Just bookmark the link and help Free Talk Live while shopping online. Thank you for shopping with shop.freetalklive.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. If you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, you ought to join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy, fees are low, transactions are quick, and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to Dash.org and find out why. So Ian and Darryl here in the studio tonight. You started the show out, Darryl, with a story about an old couple. One lady, 70 years old, her husband into his 80s. They got busted driving across the country, and they were intending to go to Vermont with a load of 60 pounds of cannabis. They got popped in Nebraska and are now facing felony counts for possession and distribution or the intention to distribute cannabis. And it's just so sad and so tragic, and you know, we've talked about this so many times. It's just the only difference here is these are elderly people. And I have to wonder, what would a drug warrior say? I mean, would it change how a drug warrior...
They broke the law.
They're so hard to find, drug warriors these days. At least they won't call the show. They certainly won't, take the position of we should go on and, keep killing people and destroying lives in the war on drugs. Because it's a losing proposition. All the evidence is against you, and so no wonder folks like that won't call into the show. But I just will still ask aloud, for rhetorical purposes. What would somebody who believes in the war on drugs say here? Go ahead, throw the book at them. Let's put them in prison till they die.
They broke the law, Ian.
Yeah,
they broke the law. They know what the law is. They broke it.
But sometimes elderly people
don't matter. They broke it.
I agree with you that that's generally the position those people would take. However, when elderly people are involved, all of a sudden, people find some level of compassion. Like, they don't care if a 20-year-old gets busted with 60 pounds of pot. They say, send him up the river. But I suspect some people would change how they approach this particular case.
No. I think if the elderly couple got caught with half a gram, people would have some compassion.
Mm-hmm.
But 60 pounds, that's a lot. They knew what the law was. People just wind up because it's so much. This is $336,000 worth of weed.
Mm-hmm.
They knew what they were doing. They broke the law. That's what the hardcore government lovers are going to say. Again, I think that those people might have a little bit of compassion if it was half an ounce, a gram, something of that, some small amount. Yeah, you know what? Leave grandma and grandpa alone. They just want to, fix their what's the eye thing that
glaucoma.
They're just treating their glaucoma.
They needed a lot of treatment in this case. 60 pounds. So if you want to share your thoughts, you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733.
But the real question is, was this actually supposed to be a Christmas gift for somebody?
It could be.
Or for a bunch of somebody.
It could have been a Christmas gift.
Just drive around and, toss bags to people.
They were going to Vermont, and there's a fair amount of cannabis usage in Vermont. So, maybe it was for the whole family. Related news. I've actually been holding on to this one for a while, Darryl. This one is from actually a little bit toward the end of November, published in The Guardian. Headline, After Marijuana, are magic mushrooms next to be decriminalized in California?
Hope so.
Because remember, California was the first state in the United States back in 1996, 21 years ago, where the folks in California did get a ballot initiative passed, Proposition 216, if I recall correctly, where they did legalize medicinal use of cannabis. And now, since then, more than half, I believe, of the U.S. 215. I was close.
You were close.
More than half of the U.S. states, I believe, have now followed suit with cannabis medical
some
programs.
Level of medical program.
Yeah, some better than others.
Yes.
And so now, is California going to lead the way again as they prepare for their legalization of recreational marijuana in 2018? One man is pushing for the state to become the first to decriminalize magic mushrooms. Kevin Saunders, a mayoral candidate for the city of Marina, just south of San Francisco Bay, has filed a proposal that would exempt adults over the age of 21 from any penalties over possessing, growing, selling, or transporting psychedelic psilocybin mushrooms. Now, that's a huge proposal. This isn't just a medicinal mushroom proposal here. He's just talking about straight up removing mushrooms from prohibition. Meaning you can grow them, you can sell them, you can possess them, you can transport them if this were to actually pass. And
are there limits on you can grow, possess up to 2 pounds?
I don't know. I haven't read the actual text of this thing here, but if we can figure that out, we'll definitely let you know. If
you've got a proposed proposition number or something, I'm sure I can find it on Ballotpedia.
Yeah, they actually do link to a PDF here, so we'll take a look at that here in a moment.
Yeah.
If he can get 365,880 voter signatures by the end of April 2018, the California Psilocybin Legalization Initiative will be placed on the statewide ballot. Saunders thinks that now is the right time because he says that the drug can help bridge the current political divide and restore a sense of community. Quote, the world is really hurting and everybody's at a loss about what's going on right now with Trump, Brexit, the refugee crisis, and everything else. I'm at a loss of what to do politically, so I just want to get high. I'm just kidding. He didn't ask that. He didn't say that part. He said, but the only thing I feel like we could do is get psilocybin into more people's hands. He says it deflates the ego and strips down your own walls and defenses and allows you to look at yourself in a different light. He says it could allow people to figure out what to do and could revolutionize the way we treat those with depression, addiction, and cluster headaches. And sure enough, there have been some really interesting studies about psilocybin mushrooms and really being able to provide some serious assistance to people in some really bad mental states. And so when they itemize here depression, addiction, and cluster headaches, they actually link to 3 different articles about magic mushrooms and some of the testing that has been done in those areas. And to me, that's one of the strongest reasons to decriminalize, just as far as, that's what people are going to pay attention to. That's sort of the foot in the door. And yes, that was the old accusation leveled at medical marijuana programs was, well, that just means you're going to be trying to legalize it next. Well, yeah, it does. That's pretty much the plan, right? You show people that this is not the devil's weed. In this case, you would be showing people that this is not the devil's mushroom, and that, in fact, there's actually a strong argument that it's God's mushroom, because if you go way back into the history of religions, there was an interesting pitch made that suggests that people on mushrooms may have actually written some of the the historic encounters with God. Was the bush actually burning, or was that all just a hallucination? The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Let's talk more about this proposal, and you can weigh in on your support or not. 855-450-FREE.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNloans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNloans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNloans.com. That's GCNloans.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agoristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agorist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agoristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agoristhosting.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us right here. Our number 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Darryl.
Also, want to let you know about Anarchapulco. It is coming up, and it's coming up fast. Less than 2 months away. It's happening February 15th through the 18th, where you'll be able to hang out with probably hundreds, if last year was any indication. I think it was like 400 or 500 at least last year. Hundreds of like-minded libertarians, anarchists, voluntarists, people who care about liberty, some great speakers who you'll be able to meet, talk to: G. Edward Griffin, Jeffrey Tucker, Roger Ver, Larkin Rose, Jeff Berwick, Bruce Fenton, Brett Finot, Julia Taransky, Dana Martin, Juan Galt, Adam Kokesh, Kerry Wedler, Vit Yedlika, and Sterling Lujan, plus live music from Jordan Page, Backwards, Rob Hustle, and more. It's happening at the Princess Resort in Acapulco, Mexico, February 15th through the 18th. I had the pleasure of going to this event for the first time this year, and it really was a great event. I would say the premier Libertarian Party kind of networking convention thing.
That's not a Libertarian Party event.
No. Like more of a party. Like there's a lot of nighttime activities.
So it's a party with libertarians.
Yeah.
It's not the libertarian. It's not a Libertarian Party event.
I didn't intend to say it was a Libertarian Party event, but the political party happens to also be called a Libertarian Party. In this case, I meant literally a party with libertarians in Mexico and anarchists and the like. So if you want to learn more about it, go to anarchapulco.com. That's where you can use code FTL to save 10% off the regular tickets. And the regular tickets do include access to Cryptopulco, which is happening on the final day of the event, again, 15th through the 18th in February. There are also additional events that you can order with tickets or with extra tickets for, including a health and wellness retreat, Change Media University with Luke Radowski, and an Amazonian ceremony called The Snake and the Jaguar. You're going to have to go learn more about that over at anarchapulco.com. And Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the event, so we will look forward to seeing you there. Once again, that's anarchapulco.com. Ian and Darryl here in the studio. We're talking about the proposal that you've been looking over, Darryl, the California Psilocybin Legalization Initiative.
Yes.
And it does appear that it is going to, if passed, if it makes it to the ballot and if passed, it would basically completely eliminate adult possession, growth, transportation, selling.
Let me read the full text of the initiative.
Okay.
That is 2 sentences. This initiative, 1, exempts adults 21 and over from criminal penalties and decriminalizes adult use of psilocybin. 2, exempts adults 21 and over from California Health and Safety Codes 11390 and 11391, which otherwise prohibit possession, sale, transport, and cultivation of psilocybin. And then I pulled up these 2 codes, and there's no mention at all of, size of, this many grams or this many ounces.
So, this would totally legalize anyone over 21 from doing anything whatsoever with mushrooms.
Right. So before this
awesome.
ever gets voted on, it's got the huge task of needing like 600,000 or 700,000. I know it's only 350 something thousand
you
valid.
Got to double it. You
need to basically double that because signatures are going to get thrown out. You need 700,000 minimum.
Right.
They need these by April 30th. And there are hundreds of proposals that get filed that never make the ballot.
No doubt, but this would be interesting if they can pull this off. We'll tell you more about the proposal here and who's proposing it, but first let's go to Rudy. He's in Bullhead City listening to K-Talks. Hello, Rudy.
Hey guys, you're talking about mushrooms.
Yes.
I think, I've been doing a lot of research, and it's fascinating how they've started to release examples of people who are dying, and they're afraid of dying, and they give them a dose of mushrooms, and the people are cool.
Yeah, it takes away their fear of death. That's another story I actually had tonight about LSD and the terminally ill. Very similar.
Well, back in, 68, I guess, my first, I went into it as a good Catholic boy. I came off my first LSD experience, totally changed.
Wow.
My fear of death, everything changed. That's one of the things that's it's kind of that the government really doesn't want people to be free thinking, and because there's a lot of people that do psychedelics and just Marge, I'm going to quit my job.
Yeah, tune in, drop out, right? Yeah, man, I totally understand. I totally am. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's every other substance that you do is basically an escapism from reality. And a psychedelic experience is a very serious turning inward. If you know what you're doing and do it right, you come off of it a lot. You know yourself a lot better. That's what I always found out. But I have a question about Mexico and the thing you're doing with the Acapulco thing.
Yeah, please.
I've got my passport. Application right here, and on it, you read it. It says, "Have you ever been convicted of any crime?" 1991, I got busted for possession. Is that going to keep me from getting a passport?
I doubt it because it was so long ago. I think there's probably a certain window of time that may affect it. So,
what was the charge again?
Possession.
Possession, under the influence of possession.
We talking felony possession or misdemeanor possession?
No. County jail stuff.
Okay. I'm by no means a legal expert, but I think that, one, because it was, 26 years ago and a misdemeanor, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
because Mark Edge has a passport, and
That's true.
He spent 8.5 years in prison
for murder
for felonies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah, so you're
he's not
probably
allowed
right.
in Canada.
But that's Canada's rules.
And
Mexico
Ian,
does not
you're
prohibit
not allowed in Canada.
That's correct. And I did not commit a felony. I am prohibited from Canada because I have misdemeanor convictions of like obstructing government administration and what was the other one? False swearing or something.
Unsworn falsification. So it's not perjury. It's just below.
Right. Go ahead, Rudy. Sorry.
You can't get into Canada with the drunk driving on your record.
Yeah, they really don't want a lot of people coming up to Canada. But Mexico, not as picky. Go ahead.
Here's the line.
Yeah.
Furthermore, I have not been convicted of a federal or state drug offense or convicted of a sex tourism crime statute.
But you were convicted of a drug offense, right?
I just read. I mean, it says.
He's reading
federal,
off the question where it says yes, no. So technically, because you were convicted of possession, you would have to answer that you were convicted of possession.
Yeah.
I think there's probably some kind of thing on there where you explain what the charge was.
Maybe.
It's been a while since I applied for a passport, so I don't remember.
So it's like $300, something like that. I mean, if they refuse it, they're going to send my money back. Right?
No, I doubt that. I bet they're just going to keep the application fee. I don't think you're going to get a refund from them. Would be my guess. But it wasn't $300 when I did it.
No,
I did it like a
100.
year ago. It was like 150 or 130 or something like that. Because I did the expedite because I wanted to make sure I got it quickly. And if you're planning to go to Anarchapulco, you need to send that in like this week with expedited service because it can take, I think, 4 to 6 weeks typically. I think I might have gotten mine in like 3 to 4, but they don't guarantee any kind of time frame. So the sooner you can get that done, the better. Rudy, anything else you want to share tonight?
On with the show.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I appreciate the comments on the psychedelic mushrooms. I can't disagree with anything that you said about them. I have done them a number of times in my life, and I think that I'm better off for having done them. And I do agree with him that it does turn people inward. It is not a party drug. It really isn't. Psychedelics like mushrooms.
Right, and one of the things that needs to really be mentioned, you talked about some of the various things where psychedelic mushrooms and LSD and MDMA have helped with like PTSD, chronic headaches, depression. That's not just go take this and sit in the woods. It's you're taking it with a therapist.
With a treatment program and a professional. Yeah, that's true. And there's more coming up here about this. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. And since Rudy brought it up, let's talk about that fear of death because there's some interesting news out about LSD, which is similar but different. 855-450-FREE like freedom.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. You got it?
BuySellMakeOffer.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
It's the Onion Radio News. Teen sex is linked to alcohol and drugs by the Center for Figuring Out Really Obvious Things. This is Doyle Redland reporting. An exhaustive 4-year, $23 million study of substance abuse and sexual habits of more than 2,500 American teens has confirmed that young people between the ages of 13 and 18 who drink and or use drugs are more likely to be sexually active. Dr. Gerald Eckersley is director of the Boston-based organization.
We found that this phenomenon also occurs among adults as well as every population everywhere in the world that has ever existed since the dawn of time.
The center has sent a teleprompter-ready press release of its findings to more than 400 local TV news affiliates across the U.S., along with stock video footage of beer displays and teens smoking and drinking at parties. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. If you appreciate this program and you want to get behind Free Talk Live and help us spread the ideas of liberty and peace and psychedelics and cryptocurrency and other stuff, then if you like the show, please join us at the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. You can send in $5 a month through any major credit card, as well as PayPal, and even Bitcoin Core, if you would like. That is still available for those of you who, for whatever reason, want to try to spend it.
Have you set up like Dash and Zencash yet?
No, not yet. We had to customize a program to accept Bitcoin in the first place, so I would have to hire the programmers to go back in and customize another program to accept this other stuff. And so I don't know how much money that's going to cost, because it costs a lot of money.
I thought you might have just had like a QR code slapped up on the site.
No, we had it automated to where if somebody was signing up for the AMP program, it would be part of that automated process of, oh, you paid this thing, here's your AMP access.
Gotcha.
That kind of thing. So it's like, it worked really well. Unfortunately, Bitcoin then became basically a broken piece of garbage.
Fees are really high.
Since that time, and so it's a nice thing to look at. But although we did actually have somebody join within the last 2 months, one person did do that. So
nice.
Thanks for that. Anyway, go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can get signed up there, and you can help us spread these ideas to more radio stations and more internet listeners and more. And you get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, and the AMP-only Facebook group. You can even get an AMP badge or a Free Talk Live badge that identifies you as an amplifier on the new Free Talk Live forum. So some cool perks available to you as an amplifier over at amp.freetalklive.com. So
I've got an answer, actually, for Rudy.
Right, yeah, he'd asked about applying for a passport and having a drug conviction in his past.
Correct. So I've actually got the denial of passports to certain convicted drug traffickers statute pulled up, or whatever it's called, from the U.S. Code. And a couple of things. Under certain misdemeanors, it says subsection A, which is the you can be denied, applies with respect to an individual convicted under a federal drug offense or state offense if the offense is a misdemeanor, but only if the Secretary of State determines that it should apply with respect to that individual on account of that offense. The paragraph does not apply to individuals' first conviction for a misdemeanor, which involves only possession.
All right, so he's all right then.
And then the period of ineligibility, which also factors in here.
If he were ineligible.
Right. Would only be ineligible during the time in which you are imprisoned or legally required to be imprisoned.
Okay.
Or if you're on parole
Probation.
or other supervised release.
Got it. Okay, so he's good to go then.
Yes.
All right.
Which is what I thought. I just wanted to pull up the statute to actually find out.
So we're talking about the guy who proposed and is trying to get hundreds of thousands of signatures on the California Psilocybin Legalization Initiative to place it on the statewide ballot, hopefully, I presume, for the 2018 election.
Yes, he's got to have those signatures by April 30th.
He's talking about why he thinks that this is the time. Why do we need to decriminalize or legalize in this case? Because it would make it so you could possess, grow, sell, or transport psychedelic mushrooms if you were 21 or older. So if you're under 21, sorry. But if this does happen, it will be an incredible change. It would be a true end to a prohibition straight out without any kind of crappy legalization program slapped on top of it.
Right, which is what I was thinking would wind up happening because it's what they did with cannabis. The whole, we're going to regulate it like wine, but then add a bunch of regulations that don't apply to wine.
Yeah.
Because the states, Colorado is a really good example, where they gave this lie of we're going to regulate cannabis like wine, but yet they limit how many plants you can have.
By like wine, what they mean is we're going to put it under the control of the Liquor Commission, and they'll just do whatever they want.
Right, but there's not a regulation on how many grape vines you can have in your yard.
Point.
There's no regulation on you can only buy one bottle of wine that's 750 milliliters.
I get your point, and you're right, but when they say it, Darryl, what they mean is like we do whatever we want. Is how when they say like regulate it like wine, that means we're going to regulate it like we do with wine, meaning we do whatever we want to.
But that's not what the proponents were supporting and advocating.
That's one of the things that Harry Brown pointed out in his presidential campaign was even if you create a government program perfectly how you exactly wanted it created, you don't get to run the government program. It's a bunch of bureaucrats who come in there and they interpret the words that were written down by you or whoever it was that passed the law, and they're going to interpret it differently than you ever intended for them to interpret.
Right.
And even if the first batch of bureaucrats gets in there and interprets it correctly, that doesn't mean the next batch of bureaucrats will interpret it correctly. And then all the other attorneys involved and the judges and everybody gets to interpret all those words in whatever ways they want to.
Right, and that's one of the reasons that I'm not, overly joyous about the cryptocurrency deregulation thing that wound up getting passed because
in New Hampshire.
Sure, the current banking regulator is saying we're not going after the Bitcoin vending machines or the cryptocurrency vending machines. Doesn't mean that whoever follows her is going to have the same interpretation.
Well, that's certainly true. However, I will say that that woman is fairly young, and so she's probably not going to be leaving that position anytime soon. But regardless, even if they change out the heads of the department, the longer they take, the more cryptocurrency vending machines will exist in New Hampshire, and it will become an even more difficult process for them to remove. If they wanted to stop it, they should have crushed it out right when it was beginning, right when it was just the one machine in Keene, or maybe when it was two of them. But now there's 6 of them across the southern tier of New Hampshire, multiple operators. They're not all run by the same person. So the more decentralized we can get these things to become, the more difficult it's going to be for them to target and take them out.
Right, but at the same time, if there winds up being, right now there's 5 or 6 that are publicly available.
6.
If it winds up being 15 or 20, they might wind up, oh, you know what? We need to wind
7.
up regulating this and then make all of them pay because there's 20 of these things. That's a lot of money that we can bring.
Yeah, they could try that. I'm not going to do it, though. I can tell you that. I'm not going to jump through their hoops.
I wasn't suggesting that you would.
And
I'm just saying
I know that the folks on the Seacoast aren't going to either.
Yeah.
And I doubt that the people in Concord are going to. There's one company here that's like a for-profit company that's really kind of doing vending machines. They would probably do what they were told, but the rest of the operators
they've got
wouldn't.
machines in multiple states, whereas the other operators only have them in New Hampshire.
Correct. And I miscounted. There are actually 7. There's 2 in Keene, 2 in Manchester, and there's 2 on the Seacoast and 1 in Concord. So
Okay, yeah, I forgot the one in Concord.
So anyway, back to the story here from The Guardian about California, where the guy who's created this ballot initiative, his name is Saunders.
Kevin
Saunders, mayoral candidate down in the city of Marina, said that he had a profound mushroom experience which got him over or helped him get over a debilitating 5-year heroin addiction. In the year 2003, when he was 32, he says, quote, "I got to the root of why I made a conscious decision to become a heroin addict, and I've been clean for almost 15 years since that time."
That's amazing.
It truly is. And I'm sure there are some drug warriors out there who would love to bring up some kind of scary story about somebody who took mushrooms and, had a bad trip. And sure, you can go to arrowhead.org and you can read all kinds of trip reports. And there's a whole section there for bad trips. And, whenever you're dealing with something that is this important and intense of an experience, it can turn out to be unpleasant in a lot of ways because to some extent you're facing yourself during these psychedelic journeys, which I consider to be very kind of spiritual, consciousness expanding experiences. And I highly recommend them, but I would only recommend them to people who are ready to experience it. And it's hard to really say you're ever ready for a psychedelic experience because if you've never had one before, you don't really know what to expect. We can talk about it all we want, but it really doesn't match the experience of actually having it.
Right.
So you have to have the lack of fear going into a situation like that because you don't want to sort of base the experience on a negative emotion. You don't want to start in a negative mental space before you have the whether it's LSD or DMT or psychedelic mushrooms. You don't want to be in a bad mental state to start because it's probably not going to get – it could get better, but you don't want to risk it. That's all I'm saying. So he said he had an amazing experience. How is it that people who are the drug warriors can look at those stories of somebody who is a debilitating 5-year heroin addict who has that situation solved through the introspection he was able to have on these mushrooms? I'd love to hear what a drug warrior has to say about this. 855-450 free like freedom. You can join us on Free Talk Live.
Guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Well, you can, and you don't even have to go out of your way. We're talking about the world's softest pajamas, available exclusively at pajamagram.com. That's pajamagram.com. Created by a team of dedicated pajama experts, the world's softest pajamas are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. She'll love the way the world's softest pajamas feel, and you'll love the way they look. More than a gift, they're a feeling, an invitation to relax a little longer. The world's softest pajamas are available only at pajamagram.com. Visit today and give her a gift that keeps on giving to both of you. Plus, you don't even have to wrap because every Pajamagram includes free gift packaging and Christmas delivery is guaranteed. So visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, December 22nd, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.21 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,269 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $13,125. Antiwar.com reports President Trump's threat to defund all foreign aid recipients who voted against the U.S. at the UN General Assembly on the Jerusalem question appears to have had little to no impact, with the vote ending up in an embarrassingly high 128-9 defeat for the United States. While Trump appeared earlier in the week to be salivating at saving money by sticking it to those who voted against him, the fact is that materially every major recipient of U.S. aid, except obviously for Israel, either voted against the U.S. or in a few rare cases abstained. This included yes votes from the entire Muslim world, including major U.S. aid recipients like Jordan, Egypt, and Afghanistan. Voting with the U.S. were mostly sparsely populated smaller countries along with Guatemala and Honduras. It's hard to imagine then that the U.S. can give any impression of following through on Trump's threat, since the reality of the situation is that this would mean virtually the end of U.S. foreign aid in one fell swoop.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports grocers Aldi and Kroger are recalling 4 types of apples because of concerns of possible listeria contamination from a supplier. The apples were shipped between December 11th and last Saturday by Jack Brown Produce from one of its growers, Nyblad Orchards in Kent City, Michigan, after routine sampling by the orchard found listeria, according to the FDA. The FDA said no illnesses had been reported. Jack Brown Produce said in a statement Tuesday, Jack Brown Produce Incorporated has ceased the distribution of any further products processed by Nyblad Orchard as the FDA and the company continue their investigation as to what caused the problem. Aldi sold Fuji, Gala, Golden Delicious, and Honeycrisp apples in Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, South Carolina, and North Carolina starting December 13th, and includes apples sold through its grocery delivery service Instacart in Atlanta, Georgia. Kroger sold large and lunchbox-sized Fuji and lunchbox-sized Galas between December 12th and Tuesday. Consumers who had purchased the recalled apples under the brand name Apple Ridge between the recall dates are urged to destroy the product and contact Jack Brown Produce for a refund.
In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
Reuters reports a random drawing to decide tied elections is a little-known tradition of American democracy. Next week, the process will determine control of the Virginia House of Delegates after a recount and court battle left Republican incumbent lawmaker David Yancey and Democratic challenger Shelley Simons tied at 11,608 votes apiece. Republicans hold a 50-49 advantage in the 100-seat chamber, and a Simons victory would force a power-sharing arrangement between the parties. At least 32 states call for a random drawing to resolve some type of election, such as municipal races, according to a Reuters review of state laws and research done by the National Conference of State Legislatures in 2014. Other states put the decision in the hands of the legislature or require a runoff. Hawaii has perhaps the most unusual method of deciding a tie election, using a calculation called election rate points that rewards candidates who registered higher turnout in voting precincts. While Idaho mandates a coin toss, most states that provide for random drawings do not specify the mechanism. Elections in a number of states in recent years have been decided by pulling names from a hat, drawing straws, or grabbing colored wooden blocks from a bag. In Virginia, the chairman of the state's election board, James Alcorn, said on Thursday that each candidate's name would be written onto an equal number of pieces of paper and then placed into old film canisters. The canisters would then go into a bowl and be shaken before a board member picks one out and declares a winner. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
In a deal policymakers have hailed as a decisive step towards combating the rapidly escalating national debt, the United States settled 0.12% of its debt to China this week with a single autographed photograph of John Hamm. The sale of the glossy signed headshot of the acclaimed actor, which China reportedly accepted for a financial easement of approximately $150 out of America's estimated $1.3 trillion in obligations, concludes a 6-month negotiation between the two parties.
The decision was obviously not an easy one, but without question, this was the right choice for our nation's future.
And in this week's science news, a distant planet is terrified that it might be able to someday support human life. In other news, a live cow is lowered onto the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. The majority of an office's supplies are used to apply for different jobs, and a lapsed cult member only attends sanctum on major bloodletting holidays.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and join us here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Darryl.
Don't forget, you can join us online. Just head over to freetalklive.com and enjoy the features that we have waiting for you on the site. Once again, that's freetalklive.com. We're talking about a magic mushroom initiative that is being attempted to be put on the ballot in California. They're going to need to collect hundreds of thousands of signatures. They probably should shoot for at least 700,000 of them, according to Darryl, because they need to get 365,000 that are legitimate, valid signatures, and it's a challenging process to do that. You usually want to do a 2-to-1 ratio on
and
whatever they recommend.
One thing that does make it a little bit easier in California and most other states is the fact that the petitioners can go around with voter registration forms to where if somebody says, I'm not sure if I'm registered, well, here, fill out this form and then sign.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll have petitioners that have multiple petitions that are going around collecting signatures for a bunch of different things.
Because they get paid for each one.
Yes.
Yeah, the professional petition.
Right. Although I think California recently did away with allowing people to pay per signature.
Really?
To petitioners. So
what, you got to pay them per hour now?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Because if you pay per signature, then you get performance from the ones that are really good. And if you pay them per hour, then they're just going to dick around, and get what they get.
Right.
So that's too bad. Well, that's what you would expect from a state like California.
That's what you get from, just somebody that you wind up calling up on the phone of, hey, do you want to, you need some day work? But the professional petition gatherers, they're still going to wind up putting in the effort because they're professionals and they know what they're doing.
But now if they can only get paid by the hour, they're going to have to raise their hourly rate, and that's just not good. But that's what you'd expect from a state like California.
Right.
We'll talk more about the voter initiative, which may be getting on the ballot here if they get enough signatures on board. Let's go to Ricky, though. First, he's on Skype. Ricky, go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, sorry there, Brother Ian. I'm eating my supper there with some pizza.
All right, well, spit it out. Let's go.
We're working it there. Oh, how you doing there, Brother Ian?
What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was going to talk about narcotics. I still am. But just real quickly, I want to ask you something since you just brought it up with these petitioners. Now, my answer... See, I'm not on the payroll, so I cannot be corrupted. That's the beautiful thing about it, amongst other things. Now, when you have people out there collecting signatures and they're getting paid, I don't know how I quite feel about that. I mean, shouldn't people who really want to do it, wouldn't they rather do it? Wouldn't they be more than happy to do it for free?
You obviously have never tried to wrangle volunteers because it is an incredibly hard thing to do to get people to, one, volunteer to do something in the first place, two, actually show up to do the thing that you've managed to convince them to volunteer to do. It is a very, very hard process, and petitioning is a particularly difficult thing to get people to volunteer for because it's not the same as like volunteering to go, build a house for homeless people or something like that.
Or even, finding volunteers to go knock on some doors to do some campaigning for a candidate.
That's hard too, though, because it requires.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Petitioning is 10 times harder.
Oh, if I may,
it's definitely they're both very difficult to do because they both involve the kind of people who can talk to people, and that you're cutting out a significant portion of the populace. Anybody who's an introvert is not going to be wanting to volunteer to go and do petition gathering. But anyway, Ricky, go ahead.
Well, if I may quickly, before I go on a quick comment about the narcotics about this. See, now I know I talk very big about secession. Now, see, here's the thing. Now, something like Section 21, now that I wouldn't have a problem with a petition. Now, why do I not do that? And I could. I mean, I can, even as deputy of the Commonwealth, I have a lot of freedom. But here's the problem. See, what's going on right now is there are some. Now, I have a lot of credibility, okay, with the legislation, whatever.
You are interrupting yourself so many times as you speak. You have yet to even get to your point about whatever it is your point is.
If I may, my point is I am under my share of fire with people starting to clear their throats. And what's interesting is I'm a Union
What did he
Party.
just say?
What's interesting.
The share of what? Clearing their throats about what?
People are starting to clear their throats.
About what?
I'm trying to tell you, but you're not listening. You and Darryl.
I am listening, rapt with attention here, Ricky. I'm not doing absolutely anything else. Darryl is tapping away on a keyboard, so I don't know if he's fully paying attention to you.
I'm paying attention. I'm also fact-checking myself on the California petition ban thing because I know there was a proposal on it.
You know what? I'm losing a lot of respect for you anymore.
Oh, no. He's lost respect for Darryl.
Go ahead. I'm listening, Darryl. What about California?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I want to hear what you have to say, Ricky. So why don't you just go ahead and explain it? Because I'm not going to give you too much more time. So you better chop.
Oh, no. Okay. I guess I'm not going to talk about narcotics. But more importantly, you see, the reason why I don't have that petition, now I'll tell you what. I mean,
what petition?
A petition to secede. Cause on paper, that's the only one that counts. That's the only one that counts, by the way. Screw the digital stuff. No way. On the internet, I question that.
What you're talking about. Are you talking about how internet polls are unreliable and unscientific?
No, a petition. We have one here. Like there's a lady that has one on paper that has, I think she got 7 or 10,000.
So you're saying like an internet petition, not as important, not as big of a deal. I see what you're saying.
No. There are some states that allow a voter to sign the petition online. So you go to the state website, type in, here's my voter registration number. I certify that I wish to sign this petition. So they allow a digital signature to the petition.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you were talking about, Ricky?
I commented on that, but there's a reason why I don't circulate a petition.
All right, why?
And here's why. Well, I would. Like for Section 21, I would. But it's funny. I've been getting something lately. Now, I'm a Union Party member till I would listen to me. Don't cut me off.
Thanks for the call. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That boy she just cannot get to a point.
Yeah, I still don't know what the point was he was trying to make.
It just doesn't happen. Sometimes he's better than others, but most of the time, no. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, and I'm so sorry to everybody out there who was expecting. It's a little late, but
boy's about as sharp as a bowling ball.
Well, better late than never. So toll-free number 855-450-FREE like freedom as we continue here. The story out of California, TheGuardian.com has it about this proposition to legalize to legalize mushrooms just across the board, even for recreational purposes, even to grow, to sell, to transport. California, they say here, is one of 8 states where voters have legalized marijuana for recreational use, even though it's still included in the federal government's list of Schedule I drugs, which for those that don't know means the federal government thinks that there's no medicinal use for marijuana, even though the majority of the states disagree with them. So, and all kinds of experts. Saunders and Kitty Merchant, who's co-author of the measure, and his fiancée, believe that magic mushrooms, also listed as Schedule I drugs, are the next logical step. He said, quote, "I think we have learned a lot from marijuana, and we're ready as a society." So far, they have about 1,000 signatures, but plan to ramp up signature gathering efforts in early December at college campuses and events like the Medical Marijuana Summit, the Emerald Cup. 85,000 signatures will trigger hearings at the state capitol. Merchant and Saunders are not the first couple to propose legalizing mushrooms. The husband and wife team, Tom and Sherry Eckert, announced earlier this year they were pushing for a similar ballot measure in Oregon, hoping to make it the first state in the U.S. to legalize the drug. And I got to say, I'm a little jealous here. These West Coast states seem to have it way ahead of where we are here in the so-called live free or die state as far as drug reform, drug decriminalization efforts. To see significant efforts at collecting ballot signatures for a proposal like this, I think is very, very good. Now, of course, here in New Hampshire, as longtime listeners know, we do not have a ballot measure available here.
Correct. There is a proposal to give some limited form of referendum and initiative.
Now, the limited aspect of that would be what?
I don't have the details in front of me, and I don't recall.
Because I like the one where the proposal is you can only remove stuff with a ballot initiative, but I don't know if that... Because I remember hearing about this one that you're referring to, and I don't think that was the limitation. But the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, because, again, if you let people have ballot initiatives, then a lot of the time they'll put in a bunch of bad crap with that, too. So, like in Florida... That's where the smoking ban came from. Somebody put a ballot initiative together, and then 70% of the oldsters there voted for it. They vote for everything, basically. 70% for everything. It's Free Talk Live.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite...
No. When I get to about 3/4. When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees!
What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us on the radio waves here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And if you are not yet into Bitcoin, but you've been wondering what all of the fuss is about, or maybe you heard the news about the big drop that happened over the last 24 to 48 hours in Bitcoin, you want to get the latest on Bitcoin, you go to news.bitcoin.com. They follow it very closely, the whole Bitcoin universe there, or as much of it they can, over at news.bitcoin.com. If you're brand new to Bitcoin, though, and you want to learn the basics, just go to bitcoin.com and you can start there. But again, if you want the latest news headlines, it's news.bitcoin.com. Plus, if you want to get involved in Bitcoin mining, you can do that over at pool.bitcoin.com. And by Bitcoin mining, I mean your choice of Bitcoin. Do you want to do Bitcoin Core, BTC, or do you want to do the new Bitcoin Cash, BCH? You can set up your miner on whichever of those mining pools that you want over at pool.bitcoin.com. As we continue here, Ian and Darryl in the studio talking about the proposals, because there's one in California to legalize for anyone who's 21 and up any kind of possession, growth, distribution, sales, possession, and transportation, and all that of magic mushrooms. But apparently, it's also being proposed in Oregon. However, in Oregon, they're taking a bit of a more conservative approach than they are in California, aiming for the 2020 ballot and seeking to legalize the drug to be taken only in licensed centers under the supervision of a certified facilitator.
And which drug is this?
Magic mushrooms.
Okay.
So you've got a proposal in California and one in Oregon.
Yep.
The one in Oregon more focused on a medical aspect. So they would not be able to, an individual would not be able to buy mushrooms and consume them at home as they could in Oregon with marijuana. Tom Eckert told Vice in July, quote, "It's not only amazing for mental health, there's also a lot of potential for self-development and creative work." And certainly, if you look at a lot of some of the most renowned artworks out there, whether it be, a piece of art on an easel, or whether it be, movies and music, a lot of art has been influenced by psychedelic journeys. I mean, there's definitely no doubt about that.
Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, yeah.
Probably several Beatles.
Lots of the Beatles.
albums.
Yeah, that's for sure. And many more.
Vincent van Gogh probably took some stuff.
Jimi Hendrix. How about that one?
Yeah.
There's plenty of them.
So I did some fact checking on the paid petitioner.
Oh, yeah.
thing.
You had said California had prohibited.
I thought they did.
The per petition pay.
Right, paying per petition. They have not. Back in 2011, legislation did make it through both houses, but was vetoed by Governor Jerry Brown. Neighboring Arizona did ban paying per signature this year. And in Oregon, they ban paying per signature. That ban was challenged but upheld in court. Additionally, paid signature gatherers, meaning that they're being paid an hourly rate or something other than per signature, are required to register with the Secretary of State and carry evidence of registration with them as they gather.
This is in Oregon?
Yes.
The efforts run in parallel to several promising clinical trials in which psychedelic mushrooms have been used to successfully treat severe depression, anxiety, and addiction. Robin, and we've reported on some of these as they've come out over the years, but they've always been very small studies, and that's because it's hard to legally study illegal drugs in the United States.
It's basically impossible to get FDA approval to study something that the FDA says has very little or no medicinal qualities. Again, even though cannabis is on that list of no medicinal qualities, even though there is a federal program that only like 4 people are still on that was instituted in like the early 90s.
Right. I think there's one guy left on that program.
One guy. Okay, I thought there were still like 3 or 4.
I think there's one dude, and he's the guy that came to New Hampshire a few years ago and smoked up down in the basement of the state
what
house.
Is it? Rosenthal, I believe, is his last name. And then, there's
all
like
the rest of them are dead.
26, 27 states that have some level of therapeutic cannabis.
So a little bit more here from the story, and then we'll give you some more related news about this. Regarding psychedelic research that has been gotten a big boost by an anonymous Bitcoin donor. We'll tell you about that coming up here. But again, these clinical trials, Robin Carhart-Harris, who's been studying the use of psilocybin to tackle treatment-resistant depression at Imperial College in London, believes that this is a logical inevitability that the drug will become available to patients. Well, that's because if you get in finally, over 2 decades, if you parade enough doctors in front of these politicians, maybe some of them will start to listen.
Right.
Like that's basically how it's done with the cannabis. Is you just have to keep pounding them with the same information over and over and over and over again, and then at some point there may be a crack in the walls of the system, and they might let some sort of medicinal program through. But in this case, the nice thing about the ballot initiative is you can jump past a bunch of that crap and just convince average people, many of whom have tried mushrooms in their lives, or they know people who have, and they haven't gone insane. So it's really, generally, mushrooms are considered to be a particularly safe form of psychedelic. I'm sure people would disagree with that statement out there because it is a psychedelic journey and it can feel uncomfortable. But as far as like, are you going to overdose? No, you're probably not going to overdose. You might throw up. That could be a possibility, but that's sort of part and parcel of the process for some people. Let's go to James. He's in New Jersey, watching us on YouTube at cam.freetalklive.com. Hello, James.
Hello, hello.
Yes, you're James.
Are you guys ready for more facts?
Sure.
All right. How many facts would you like to hear?
I don't know. Well, just give us one.
Let's do 5.
All right, well, let's see.
Why not?
Let's start with
Ready?
1.
We'll see how 1 goes, and then maybe we'll get to 2.
Elephants stay pregnant for about 650 days.
Okay, so about 2 years for an elephant pregnancy. Yes. I didn't know that. I might have heard it at some point in the past.
I knew they had a very long pregnancy.
Okay, all right. Let's go to number 2.
The Beatles broke up at Disney World.
Really? Now that's relevant because we were just talking about the Beatles. All right, you're on a good roll here. Let's go to number 3.
Before the 1800s, dentures were often made from the teeth of dead soldiers.
Grisly, but I believe it. Number 4.
Lego comes from the Danish word legot, meaning play well.
Ah, okay. I used to love Legos as a kid, and then they just got too expensive because my parents made me buy all my own toys. So.
Did you see, speaking of expensive Legos, did you see that there's the Lego Millennium Falcon set that's like $800?
Is this a new set or like a classic set?
No. It's a brand new set where it's like supposed to be the width of a grown man's shoulders. Like this thing is huge.
No, I had not heard about that. Yeah. That sounds amazing. For those who are really into Star Wars and really into spending a whole bunch of money on something that's going to sit and gather dust on a shelf, which ultimately was why I kind of got out of it, because as a young teenager, I just got tired of like always dusting these damn Legos that I just had sitting there. I never played with them. Just built the things, and then once you get older, you don't play with things in the same way that you used to,
right,
as a child. And so they just became these like dust collectors, and with all those little bumps on them, they are so hard to dust.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard. James, we got through 4. That was pretty good. Thanks for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves, and you can bring up anything on Free Talk Live.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Armistice Day was a day dedicated to world peace, a day to perpetuate peace through goodwill and mutual understanding. This sentiment was lost when Congress renamed the day in 1954, so antiwar.com is reclaiming November 11th as Armistice Day, a celebration of hope and peace. Antiwar.com has been battling the war party for 22 years and has always been on the cutting edge of technology in this fight, having accepted Bitcoin donations for 5 years now. Antiwar.com is diving deeper into the cryptocurrency movement by adding Bitcoin Cash, Dash, and Zcash to its digital currency donation options. And to celebrate, Bitcoin.com has pledged $20,000 in crypto matching funds through December 31st. Help Antiwar.com accelerate into the future with a cryptocurrency donation today.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Darryl.
Don't forget, if you want to learn more about Free Talk Live, we got a lot of features on our website. Head over to freetalklive.com and you can get interactive with other hosts of the show, as well as listeners, like on our forum, for instance. And then, of course, there's the Amplifier-only Facebook group. There's a lot of ways to get interactive. Of course, you can actually chat in our chat room during the show when we're live. You can chat in the chat room when we're not live, too, if you want. I don't know if anybody's in there at those times, but it's there around the clock. You can go to freetalklive.com. You can experience all those features completely free. Once again, that's freetalklive.com. We've been talking about mushrooms and the legalization proposal that may be getting on the ballot in 2018. They're going to have to really crack down and get some serious petitions signed in order to do that. Hundreds of thousands of them in the state of California. Not sure what the requirements are in Oregon, but there's also a proposal there. The difference being California would be a true end to prohibition, not legalization. This is what all ballot proposals should be, but unfortunately they always feel like we got to let the government tax it. We got to let the government regulate it. Well, no. How about we just strike it from the statutes? And that's basically what this proposal does in California, making it legal to sell, to grow, to transport, to possess psychedelic mushrooms, which would be amazing if that actually happened. Of course, it probably won't, but if it did, that would be incredible. And then in Oregon, the proposal is to do a medicinal version of magic mushroom semi-legalization, only usable in sort of therapeutic sessions and in controlled specific place with licensed people. So maybe that one has a better chance.
So in Oregon, if it's a statutory initiative, it needs 88,184 valid signatures based on current, registrations and whatnot. If it's a constitutional initiative, it needs close to 118,000 valid.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We can talk more about this, but we've got Stefan on the line in Ohio. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Stefan.
I want to discuss a bill that Governor Kasich actually just signed in my state. You may or may not have heard of it yet.
Probably not. What is it?
Basically, he signed a bill that says you cannot have an abortion if it turns out your child in your womb has been diagnosed with Down syndrome.
Yeah, I saw a headline on that, and I didn't actually have time to look into the article to see if the reason... is it one of those things of if you say, I want the abortion because my child has Down syndrome, it's banned. But if you just say, I want an abortion and the child happens to have Down syndrome.
I believe under any circumstance, you're not allowed to have an abortion if the child has Down syndrome.
Huh. And this was passed by the governor, you say?
Yeah, this has been a long time coming. It's gone through the legislature, and in the past few weeks, everybody has been expecting him to sign the bill because he is a very, staunch anti-abortion advocate. He does not agree with abortion whatsoever.
My God, it seems to me like that would be another reason to have an abortion is why would you want to bring a child into the world that is going to be basically disabled from day number one? I understand there's people out there that can answer that question, so you're welcome to dial in because I guess the claim is all life is precious. But it would seem to me that if you're subjecting somebody to a difficult life when that could be avoided, it would seem like avoiding it would be the right choice. But everybody's got their own morality.
I just pulled up an article from CNN, and of course they're not citing the actual text here. But they say the law prohibits abortion after prenatal tests reveal Down syndrome in a fetus, or if, quote, there is any other reason to believe that they have Down syndrome. So it's not requiring genetic tests on everybody that wants to have an abortion and,
that's what's coming next.
Fetus has Down syndrome. You can't do this.
I'm surprised that wasn't included, but that will probably be what they add to it some other time.
Says a person performing such an abortion would face a 4th-degree felony. Physicians could lose their license. The woman seeking the abortion would not be held legally liable.
That seems terrible to me. I agree with Ian. The idea that you should not be able to abort a child, it's going to have a difficult life anyway.
Right, it's going to have a difficult life, number one, because the mother doesn't want it, but then number two, because they have Down syndrome as well.
And what if you don't have the money for the medical care that somebody with Down syndrome is going to need throughout their childhood? That could be potentially millions of dollars.
I don't know what it would be, but it's not going to be cheap.
Yeah, and some people might want to abort the child because they know I can't afford this kid. It's going to suffer. It's going to have to go to special schools and things like that, and they won't be able to afford it.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if some anti-abortion group would put together the funding to adopt every single child that people want to abort and pay the mothers to go through the process of the labor.
Unfortunately, Ian, that's not allowed because that's considered selling a child.
Really?
Yes. So some of the things that people say, well, why don't the anti-abortion people do X? Because it's not allowed.
Yeah, but would they do it if they could?
Possibly.
Because it's one thing to go out. Hold on. It's one thing to go out there in front of Planned Parenthood and hold up a bunch of signs of like aborted fetuses and make a big stink. It's a whole other thing to actually have to take care of a bunch of unwanted children. Right.
So it's illegal, you're saying, to pay somebody to have a child so that they can adopt later? That's illegal?
Yes.
Is that in all states?
As I understand it. Now, it's different if it's a surrogate situation.
Okay.
But if
so that's where you decide in advance?
Right.
Yeah.
So you find somebody in advance of them getting pregnant, and we can pay you to carry our child.
But if it's after the fact, then it's illegal.
Oh, you're pregnant. Here's money. I want your baby. You're then selling a child, and that's illegal.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, I didn't know that, and because I was about to ask that. What about gay couples that have people have their children? So if it's planned ahead of time, it's okay, but you can't just decide to buy somebody else's baby.
Right.
And you should be able to because free market. If you want to be able to buy, some baby.
If I want to sell my kidney.
Yeah, you should be able to sell whatever you want.
I've got 2 of them.
Sell a finger. I don't care. It's your hand. You should be able to do what you want.
When does that no longer apply, though? Like you're saying if you have like a 6-year-old child, you should be able to sell it in the free market?
Well, that's a good point. Then there's the whole slavery issue.
Well,
what do you say to that, Darryl?
Hold on. Let me just sort of give a scenario. I'm not necessarily going to answer the question, but I'm going to give a scenario. Let's say that you have a really good job working for like a Fortune 500 company, and at the time you can afford to have 2 or 3 kids. Company goes bankrupt. You lose your job, and you wind up because you were making a bunch of money, you were also spending a bunch of money. You don't have savings, and now all of a sudden, it's tough to put food on the table.
So
and
sell your
you
child.
Can no longer so it then becomes a situation to where you can no longer afford to have the family. Should you be allowed to then wind up, giving up the children at some later point?
This brings up the interesting question of when does a parent not control their child, right? And this is a big question that a lot of libertarians disagree very vehemently about. I personally like the idea of a young person being able to emancipate themselves at the time that they feel they're ready to do that. But when you start getting into young ages, and obviously they can't even comprehend what emancipation is.
I want to point out that I'm not in any way advocating people selling their 6-year-old. I'm just pointing out a situation to where it's not necessarily.
But even if you could
for foster children, then you don't necessarily have to sell it. I think putting up a Craigslist ad for your child is kind of sick.
Yeah, even if you could.
Well, generally when a 5 or 6 or 7-year-old is put into foster care, it's not because the parents no longer want the child. It's because CPS has taken the child.
In a lot of cases, that does happen.
So wait, so if the parent doesn't want the child anymore, you're saying they should be able to sell them?
I'm asking the question. I'm not advocating parents selling their children.
What's the question you're asking?
What's the from like the whole standpoint of selling the child before it's born and selling the child when your financial situation changes and the child is 5 years old? What's the moral and ethical difference?
Right, that's a good question. The toll-free number here, and thank you for the call, Stefan. I appreciate hearing from you. If you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
If your dog has
shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching, I would recommend Dynovite.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
You've been hearing Dr. Wallach talking about 90 essential nutrients, keeping the body healthy. GCNteam.com now has Beyond Tangy Tangerine tablets, 60 plant-derived minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, packed in a powerful tablet. But that's not it. 160,000 auric points, a knockout punch to free radicals. Call 877-878-4203 or go to GCNteam.com. That's 877-878-4203.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free to join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Darryl.
We've got Skype as well, so don't hesitate to Skype in if you want to join us there, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. We were just on the line with Stefan in Ohio. Got into an unusual conversation about human rights. Abortion was what brought the topic up, but it ended up becoming about selling your child what was originally a discussion about being able to sell the baby that you were going to have, right?
Correct.
Like, oh, you've gotten pregnant, you don't want to have this baby. Wait. We, the anti-abortionists, are going to come in and we're going to solve this situation by just offering you, sad mother, we're going to purchase your child from you. You just have to go through with the pregnancy. We'll pay you to go through the pregnancy, and then we'll pay you after the fact to make sure that we can secure all the rights to be able to raise the child, and you won't have to worry about it. And then that led to the kind of this discussion about,
right, because that's not allowed.
That's illegal in a lot of places, apparently. And then the question became, well, what about, should you be, if you could sell your child before it's born, should you be able to sell a child after it is born? Because you'd asked, what is the fundamental difference? And you weren't taking a position on this.
Right. What is the moral and ethical difference of, offering up your child for sale before being born?
Yeah.
The day it's born, a week after it's born, before you head home from the hospital, or 6 years later.
Right, and we're not talking about selling into slavery here, right? We're just talking about selling to a couple of parents who...
My situation has changed. I am no longer capable of being a good parent, and I want someone to care for my child, and I love my child so much that I am willing to give up this child so that they can have a better life than what I can provide.
At some point, the child would have a say, I would think, right? Like the child, at some point, if it is cognizant enough, sentient enough, it could be able to say, I don't want to be that person's child. This person or this couple that you're trying to send me over to, they look scary to me. I don't want anything to do with being in their household.
Some states, I know Pennsylvania for certain, at least as of about a decade ago, said that children do not have any rights to make such a request until they are 18 years old.
Yeah, I find that to be insulting.
So if there's a custody dispute, the child's opinion about which parent they want to live with makes zero difference.
I find that really annoying. I think that in the case of, and again, let's just focus on the sale here. I think that it should involve the consent of all parties, including, if it's going to happen, and this is a drastic change in a child's life, then it should be that all parties agree, meaning that mom and dad on the child's side want to give up the child, and because again, if they're separated or whatever, then if one of them wants it, then they shouldn't be able to give it to somebody else, I wouldn't think.
Right.
And then, so mom and dad both want to get rid of the child. The child is also willing to go with the parents who want to adopt it. And of course, the adopting parents also want it. So if all of the parties agree, I don't think that there should be any kind of issue there. But again, that doesn't answer the question that you asked, which is to say, what's the difference between, a couple of parents selling an unwanted fetus versus an unwanted newborn versus an unwanted 5-year-old?
Right. Well, what's the legal or not legal, but the moral and ethical difference?
Because there are some libertarians who believe that they own their children. And this is a strange belief system to me. I understand where it comes from because libertarians are real big into property, a lot of them.
Right.
They would argue that property is sort of the basis of their philosophy, although generally being a libertarian just means you don't support the use of aggressive force to achieve your political or social goals. There's not really any statement there about property. But I think amongst libertarians, you'll generally find a real reverence for the idea of property.
Right. And then you get into the question of how do you define property?
Indeed.
So
whether it's real property like land or...
Well, is a pet property?
I would say that the pet generally could be considered property. It is something that you keep, right? Generally against its will. So, by all evidence, some pets do want to stay in the house that you keep them.
Right. So, a pet is a living thing. It has its own brain.
Yeah.
So, can you own something that, has some level of awareness?
If you can, again, this is a deep question, right? By all auspices, you appear to own the thing, right?
Right,
like
and
you have control over it.
This is where I'm in no way advocating slavery, but, it's this sort of thinking that at one time allowed slavery to exist because they're like, oh, well, they aren't really people. They don't have the same cognition and this and that as us sophisticated people, so we can own them.
Yeah, it's sick, but that is the viewpoint that was probably pretty prevalent.
So, like the helper monkeys, and there actually are, the capuchin or whatever, the monkeys that can do services and whatnot. They have a lot of cognition. They can perform tasks.
Yep. They just can't speak to you.
Own them? Certainly you can be the caretaker. And that's where I sort of draw a line of people can be caretakers of animals, but you don't actually own the animal. And the fundamental difference is one of those, it's sort of a, minutia distinction without a difference sort of thing. To where, functionally you own Jazzy the studio dog.
Right.
But you're really just the caretaker of Jazzy the studio dog.
Yeah, and to some extent, my relationship with Jazzy is a very long one. I mean, I got her when she was a puppy. Not the youngest of puppies, but still a puppy, dog, not a full-size dog. And Jazzy, to some extent, is here on her own volition, right? She could leave anytime she wanted to. And what I mean by that is whenever I walk Jazzy, the collar is not on, basically. There's a lot of looseness in her collar. And if she wanted to, anytime, she could slip right out of the collar.
Right.
So it's more of the illusion that...
but, if she ran away, she wouldn't have her nice, comfy MyPillow bed.
No, she wouldn't.
She wouldn't have people feed her on a regular basis.
So she's here on her own volition. I've always had that, the pets that have been here have always wanted to be here. Although there was one that was here most recently, was technically not my cat. Again, who owns the thing? Well, the person taking care of it, or the caretaker, as you're pointing out. It was Renee's cat, who I was taking care of while she wasn't here. And
you were taking care of the cat, not Renee.
Yes. Well, to some extent. Both.
While the cat was here and Renee was not, you were taking care of the cat.
Yeah. And that cat wanted out of this house. It did not want to stay. Didn't matter how nicely it was treated here. It was fed. It was treated nicely, but it wanted out.
It just wanted to be outside. Yeah. It wouldn't leave the property when it got outside a couple times.
That's true. It
just wanted to be outside.
Yeah. But regardless, it is an interesting question of who owns an animal. Can you own an animal? Of course, the animal rights activists out there, the most extreme, would say that no one should own an animal. You cannot own an animal. You should not even keep an animal inside a house. That they all need to be set free. And again, I think that relationships that people have with their animals defy that, where the animal wants to be there, the animal wants to have the symbiotic, mutually beneficial relationship between it and the human. And so again, back around to the other question of human beings. Are you the caretaker of the child or the owner of the child? And I think that it would be interesting because I would love to hear one of the libertarians who believe in ownership of children, because I don't agree with that. I like your viewpoint, Darryl, the caretaker, because that sort of gives the idea of when this person is ready to be free, they can just choose to leave rather than, oh, sorry, you're owned by these parents until you turn 18. Then magically, you're no longer owned by those people and you're your own free person.
Or possibly 21 or 26 or some other weird arbitrary number depending on where you live and for what purposes.
Well, most states, the age of majority is 18.
Right, but federal law says for insurance purposes, you're still a child until you're 26.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
If you're in college, then you might still technically, for various financial aid purposes, you're a dependent of your parents, even if you've not lived at home for 5 years.
That's frustrating. And then in some states, you can actually file for emancipation before you're 18. So I think it was in Florida, you could do it as young as age 16. But here in New Hampshire, even though the age of consent is 16, you have to still live with your parents. So if they're abusive towards you, sorry, we'll just have the police return you to the abusive household if you try to run away. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. But if you're one of those parents who believes you actually own your children, that is the viewpoint I want to hear more about. If you can explain it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. Hour number 3 on the way on Free Talk Live.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, December 22nd, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.21 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,269 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $13,125. Antiwar.com reports President Trump's threat to defund all foreign aid recipients who voted against the U.S. at the UN General Assembly on the Jerusalem question appears to have had little to no impact, with the vote ending up in an embarrassingly high 128-9 defeat for the United States. While Trump appeared earlier in the week to be salivating at saving money by sticking it to those who voted against him, the fact is that materially every major recipient of U.S. aid, except obviously for Israel, either voted against the U.S. or in a few rare cases abstained. This included yes votes from the entire Muslim world, including major U.S. aid recipients like Jordan, Egypt, and Afghanistan. Voting with the U.S. were mostly sparsely populated smaller countries along with Guatemala and Honduras. It's hard to imagine then that the U.S. can give any impression of following through on Trump's threat, since the reality of the situation is that this would mean virtually the end of U.S. foreign aid in one fell swoop.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports grocers Aldi and Kroger are recalling 4 types of apples because of concerns of possible listeria contamination from a supplier. The apples were shipped between December 11th and last Saturday by Jack Brown Produce from one of its growers, Nyblad Orchards in Kent City, Michigan, after routine sampling by the orchard found listeria, according to the FDA. The FDA said no illnesses had been reported. Jack Brown Produce said in a statement Tuesday, Jack Brown Produce Incorporated has ceased the distribution distribution of any further products processed by Nibland Orchard as the FDA and the company continue their investigation as to what caused the problem. Aldi sold Fuji, Gala, Golden Delicious, and Honeycrisp apples in Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, South Carolina, and North Carolina starting December 13th, and includes apples sold through its grocery delivery service Instacart in Atlanta, Georgia. Kroger sold large and lunchbox-sized Fuji and lunchbox-sized Galas between December 12th and Tuesday. Consumers who had purchased the recalled apples under the brand name Apple Ridge between the recall dates are urged to destroy the product and contact Jack Brown Produce for a refund.
In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
Reuters reports a random drawing to decide tied elections is a little-known tradition of American democracy. Next week, the process will determine control of the Virginia House of Delegates after a recount and court battle left Republican incumbent lawmaker David Yancey and Democratic challenger Shelley Simons tied at 11,608 votes apiece. Republicans hold a 50-49 advantage in the 100-seat chamber, and a Simons victory would force a power-sharing arrangement between the parties. At least 32 states call for a random drawing to resolve some type of election, such as municipal races, according to a Reuters review of state laws and research done by the National Conference of State Legislatures in 2014. Other states put the decision in the hands of the legislature or require a runoff. Hawaii has perhaps the most unusual method of deciding a tie election, using a calculation called election rate points that rewards candidates who registered higher turnout in voting precincts. While Idaho mandates a coin toss, most states that provide for random drawings do not specify the mechanism. Elections in a number of states in recent years have been decided by pulling names from a hat, drawing straws, or grabbing colored wooden blocks from a bag. In Virginia, the chairman of the state's election board, James Alcorn, said on Thursday that each candidate's name would be written onto an equal number of pieces of paper and then placed into old film canisters. The canisters would then go into a bowl and be shaken before a board member picks one out and declares a winner. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This is William Chambers. Now a retired insurance salesman, Chambers is just one of over 95% of grandfathers who, according to a new report from the Center of Business Intelligence, secured their first and only job by walking right up to the owner of a business and asking for a position right then and there.
I slammed my fist on the desk and said, "I'm your man." He stood right up. He shook my hand and he said, "You come in first thing Monday morning."
According to the report, nearly 36% of grandfathers claimed that they found employment by entering a local business with nothing but a nickel in their pockets and a shirt on their backs. 24% saw a fine-looking marquee for a business and said, "Someday my name's going to be on that sign." And 40% of grandfathers said they snuck into the CEO's office and said, "Mr. McKinley, sir, I'm your guy."
It just took gumption. You didn't need some fancy internship. Looking the boss dead in the eye and showing him you were a man. That was your internship.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want as we launch into the third hour of the program. As always, you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here tonight, you've got Ian.
And Darryl.
As we will continue with your phone calls and thoughts. For those of you just tuning in, we started out, or earlier in the show tonight, we were talking about a possible ballot initiative in California to legalize possession and sale and transport and manufacture and growth of medicinal, or not just medicinal, but psychedelic mushrooms for whatever purpose. And then a medicinal version of a similar bill up in Oregon is being proposed. Again, I guess bill is not the right word. Ballot initiatives are what are being proposed. And then we got into an unusual conversation about children and ownership. And, you know, if you can sell a fetus, basically, then shouldn't you also be able to sell a newborn or a 5-year-old? And, you know, at what point shouldn't you? Some people actually believe they own their children, within the libertarian movement, and at least that's my understanding of their position. Dylan, you're on Free Talk Live, calling from Wisconsin. You want to weigh in? Go for it.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
Hey, so as a father of two children, I got a 2-year-old son and a 4-year-old daughter. There's no way I could ever do that, but I understand a situation where maybe somebody feels that their judgments have put them in a pickle, and somebody else might be better off. But I could never do it because I believe that I've been trying to raise my children to be reasonable, even at a young age. Everything is based around trying to make a good decision. And, to chime in on you were talking earlier about all parties agreeing. I mean, this is, I guess, a little different, depending on the age of the kid. But, I feel the kid needs to be in agreement as well. At least in my case, I would need my children to agree with me.
Yeah.
Or I could never do it. It's a small human. They're not property, in my opinion. But
I agree.
The major point that I wanted to make out of all this, I guess, is that the problem with conveying some of these thoughts is language itself. We're talking about ownership, and this is like a kind of ownership, but we don't really have a word for it. So it's hard to, you guys were talking about caretaker, but to what extent is that? There's just this form of ownership, but it's not really full-fledged ownership.
That's what Darryl was referring to in the last hour, is the idea of being a caretaker of either an animal or a child, rather than an owner of that thing, meaning that you're the person primarily responsible for ensuring its survival.
The word caretaker also sort of implies a sense of responsibility.
Yeah. You're responsible for its survival.
Right.
And you've taken that on as a responsibility for yourself because you believe that you can handle that. Otherwise, you should give it up to somebody who can.
Right.
But I agree with you. That's a better term. I don't like the idea of ownership of another individual. And I also agree with you, Dylan, that if you're going to be giving a child away to other parents, that the child should have a say. So I think we're on the same page on that.
Yeah, and actually, when I was listening, you guys were talking about the magic mushrooms and stuff too, and them having medicinal benefits. There's a guy, Paul Stamets, who's kind of the mushroom guru out there, and he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he had told the story about eating an enormous amount of mushrooms. His first time ever, didn't know what he was doing. He ate something like 20 grams of mushrooms.
Oh my God.
That's a lot. Isn't a typical dose like 2?
2 grams would be a good dose
I think
for a newbie for sure.
Dose is like 3 or 4 grams.
3,
or something,
you're at a strong dose, very strong.
Yeah.
2, depending on the strength of the mushrooms, can also be a strong dose.
But what was amazing about his story was that he had a congenital stuttering disorder his entire life, and it was just a debilitating thing for him. And during his experience, he talks about being in this crazy storm in a tree, and he was literally in the tree in some crazy storm when he took these things. And somewhere along in this journey, he told himself, why do I stutter? I don't need to do this. And he told himself 1,000,000 times or however many, and the next day he stopped stuttering.
Incredible.
It's
an amazing story. And I totally buy it. Dylan, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Really, a lot of the things that are problems in our lives are created mentally, mental blocks and issues that are manifesting from some sort of issue that is inside your head and less physical malady that cannot be solved. And that's another interesting example of that. So if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. There's more actually from this mushroom story in The Guardian where they had gotten into, in the initial part of the story, they were talking about how California and Oregon have potential ballot initiatives regarding legalization of different levels of psychedelic mushrooms, but now they're kind of going over some of the studies that have been done. And Robin Carhart Harris, who's been studying the use of psilocybin to tackle treatment-resistant depression at Imperial College in London, and that's That's the worst kind of depression, right? These are people who, and we've talked about these studies before, these are people who they've tried every single known technique where, whatever therapy, whatever medication, every pill, they've all been tried, and these people still have, serious depression.
Right.
That's when they bring them into these mushroom or PTSD MDMA studies, and that's what they're talking about here. She believes it's a logical inevitability that the drug, meaning mushrooms, will become available to patients. However, such legalization will only take place once final Phase 3 clinical trials are completed and the drug is approved by the FDA and the European Medicines Agency. To standardize the dose, the psilocybin would have to be administered in capsule or pill form. Quote, depression is such a major problem and it's not being treated effectively at the moment. A lot of patients aren't seeing results with traditional antidepressants, said Ms. Harris, adding that psilocybin could be a legal medicine to be administered in clinics within the next 5 years. It seems a little optimistic given how slow the government tends to go, but then again, there have been some groups that have been at this process for quite a long time as well. It's not like they're just starting down the road of these treatments and tests. Although magic mushrooms are the safest of all of the drugs in terms of the number of people who require emergency medical treatment, according to last year's global drug survey, they do still carry risks. Quote, they are drugs with very low toxicity and very low potential for abuse, said psychiatrist Adam Winstock, the founder of the Global Drug Survey, who said that if you take into account how often people take them, they're safer than cannabis. Quote, the only difference being the potential for mushrooms to distort your perceptions, cognition, emotions in a way that is totally outside of most people's real, normal experience. For a minority of the people taken in the wrong situation, that could be terrifying. And that goes back to the bad trip that I was talking about earlier on in the show.
Right. And also, it should be noted, and it doesn't seem to be noted in this article, most of the time when there's the therapy sessions, they're using microdoses, not a full dose.
I don't know if that's true.
The studies that I've read about, they're doing microdoses.
Okay, because people have different opinions about what a microdose is, and like with LSD, there were all these articles about how microdosing is really popular now in professional world and urban areas or whatever, and those people aren't taking enough of the dose to have it be particularly active psychologically or whatever. It's not like a dose where they're actually being affected to where they're having the intended experience. So I don't think that's what's happening. I've never heard that before. I'd be interested in finding out more about that particular claim. Because
the ones that I've read specifically in regards to chronic headaches.
Maybe with chronic headaches, but as far as like therapy, PTSD, these sorts of things, like with MDMA, you need to be able to have the effects of the drug to be able to reflect, be able to break down barriers and walls, and you're just not going to get that on a microdose of one of these drugs. And I think the same thing's going to be true about psychedelic mushrooms. You want to have the psychedelic experience. You don't just want to have the colors get a little bit brighter. 855-450 free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Core and your Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
If you're looking for work, or even if you're not, here's an innocent mistake you really want to avoid. Never return calls before listening to your voicemail. Your wireless phone sends calls you didn't answer into voicemail, and it shows you phone numbers for calls you missed. Important. Don't call back callers you missed until you have first listened to your messages. Otherwise, you frustrate people who bothered to leave messages by asking them to repeat a message they just left as your voicemail greeting instructed them to. If you're a job applicant, this alone could be a deal killer. And even if you're not, there are few things you can convey to someone that are as fundamentally maddening as, "I didn't hear you." With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. And you may Skype in to Skype username LRN.FM. You can get your Blink home security system. 3 Blink cameras for what some of the other guys will charge you for 1 security camera. And these are wireless, so you don't have to deal with drilling holes, running wires, and all the hassles of setting up a wired DVR system. In fact, there's not even a DVR in this case. It's all done over the internet. And your Blink home security system makes it super easy to get set up. You pop the batteries in the cameras, you plug the one wire into the whole system, which powers the hub, and then you set it all up with your Wi-Fi enabled device like a tablet or your smartphone. And then once they're all set up, you set them up as far as when they operate and how long the clips are that they send out, if there's any motion in front of them, and then you get the clips on your phone or whatever other Wi-Fi device you've got running their software. Whenever something happens, you can, of course, download the clips if you like. BlinkProtect.com/FTL is where you can go to get your Blink Protect home security system, or maybe for a small office too. BlinkProtect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. So, Darryl, you actually did look up the claim that some of these studies do involve microdosing, and you found one of them is one of the ones about depression.
Yeah, fairly lengthy article from Vice from 2015 about a woman. They give her the name Sue with the asterisk of we changed her name to protect her identity. Had been going to Dr. Give me 1 second to find his name. James Fadiman, who prescribes his patients microdoses of psilocybin. Microdose defined here as between 1/10 to 1/20th of a regular dose.
That's about a microdose for sure.
And he says that you should not have any psychedelic effects. If things start to glitter,
too much,
cut it back.
Now that does make sense when you're trying to treat a specific malady that maybe just having a small amount of the thing, whatever drug they're studying, could affect. You don't want to have somebody curled up in a ball over in the corner, if they're trying to go about their day. If they're trying to treat depression or chronic headaches, that's not something where getting into the psychedelic aspects of the drug would be useful. Whereas trying to, end PTSD, you're going to have to. You're going to have to go into those places. And that's part of what that whole experience is about. So I think it depends on what they're trying to
And
treat.
again, this seems to be that they were taking the stuff during visits to the doctor, not
Correct.
just, all right, take this at home and, trip a bunch and see the little green guys.
Right. Now, eventually, if they can prove this theory, if you're doing microdosing at home, that would be completely safe. Like if they actually get these things approved for medical use, then obviously you wouldn't need to go into an office every time you just wanted to deal with a headache. They would just be administering this in the glass of water in the morning or something like that, and it would be a very, very small dose, and it would get them through the day, that kind of thing. But when it comes to dealing with serious trauma in the past, which again MDMA and mushrooms have been shown to be very, very effective with, or as we haven't mentioned yet, but one of our callers touched on earlier, the question of the terminally ill patient and having them use LSD or psilocybin to get over the fear of death. Again, that's something that's going to require the person to go on the psychedelic or the spiritual journey that drug can bring about. So it depends on what they're trying to treat. But I appreciate that. That's good information about the depression treatments. Anyway, a little bit more here from the story at The Guardian about how they say that for a minority of people taken in the wrong situation, the mushroom experience could be terrifying. And they were saying that according to the Global Drug Survey, mushrooms are the safest of all of the drugs. And they rank that based on a variety of factors, mostly harm to the user and harm to society, sort of based on the drug. So mushrooms are very, very low on that particular chart. But they are pointing out that it's not a perfect, there's different individuals involved and different body chemistries and different experiences, and everybody can react in a very different manner. And these are drugs, psychedelics, that can sort of turn on different levels of cognition and experience that otherwise wouldn't be present. You might notice things that would normally sort of be on an undercurrent, something that would be less noticeable in your normal sort of waking sober state, may become very, very noticeable in a state of psychedelic state. And for people who aren't prepared for that, for people who've never had that experience before, and especially for people who are going into it with a fear-based mentality or an angry mentality, those are the kind of people who are likely, I would say more likely than just your average person who is ready to have a psychedelic experience. The person who's not prepared, who is scared or who's angry, that's the kind of person who's more likely to have a bad time. But this is always possible. It's always a possibility. But the reality is, even if you are having a bad time on a psychedelic, you're going to get through it. And that's why they recommend having a sitter. If you're doing it for recreational purposes, having a sitter, somebody who's there who is not doing that drug, or if they are, they must be very, very experienced. But generally, you don't want to have them doing it. That way they can kind of keep an eye on you and make sure everything is okay and remind you that everything is okay if you feel as though everything is not okay in that circumstance. But what they're referring to here is the set and setting aspect of psychedelics, which is the most important part of any kind of psychedelic experience, is being in a place where you don't feel scared, you don't feel threatened or intimidated, you're not around people that you're uncomfortable with. If you are in a group of people, this is why I say these are not party drugs, but if you're in a group of people that you love and they care about you and you feel safe, you're not going to likely have a negative experience. You're much less likely to have that. Whereas if you're in a strange place you've never been before and you're surrounded by people that you don't know, it might work out and it might not. So you got to keep that stuff in mind. And if you are interested in learning about this, whether it be from a medicinal perspective or from a recreational perspective, great website is arrowid.org, E-R-O-W-I-D, arrowid.org, where you can go and learn a lot more about all of these illegal drugs and some of the legal ones as well. But drugs like mushrooms or other psychedelics, and they've got a lot of history behind them. A lot of people have done these things, so there's a lot of information. Whereas like the newer drugs, the experimental drugs that are just coming out within the last several years, there's not a whole lot of information about those on Arrowhead, but there's some. Winstock said he'd prefer to see a well-regulated market for magic mushrooms where you'd have to show a letter from a doctor saying you were not receiving any acute mental health care or medications. Buyers should also be given advice on how to use the drug, what the effects are, and given links to online services to manage difficult situations if they arise. Quote, I would get people to treat mushrooms with the respect they deserve, he said. The Drug Policy Alliance, a not-for-profit group focusing on ending the war on drugs, would not comment on the specific proposals in California and Oregon, but its director of legal affairs, Tamar Todd, said, quote, we certainly agree that nobody should be arrested or incarcerated simply because they possessed or used drugs. And I sure do hope that sometime in our lifetime that sentiment will become the norm.
Yes.
That we will no longer see our friends, our family members, our coworkers, our neighbors, and other total strangers being incarcerated, having their lives destroyed because drug addiction, and again, we weren't even talking about drug addiction here. We're talking about the use of recreational and medicinal psychedelics. But drug use or drug addiction can be a personal tragedy, but it's always made worse by the drug laws that then take somebody who's having a personal issue and takes them away from their job, away from their family, and puts them behind bars in a prison cell. That's a horrifying situation for anybody, and nobody deserves that if they didn't hurt anybody else. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. You can join us on Free Talk Live.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
It's happening every day. They sip some kind of chemicals through the floor.
Oh, so it's like gas.
I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
I was under the impression they were coming into your house and like holding you down.
Well, they can come in. Oh, yeah, I got my remote controls right now. I can't find them. I listen to this preacher man. Every time I listen to him, some kind of way they turns the station off.
Maybe it's just going off.
I mean, you'd be surprised.
They've got the remote, Mark.
How much power they have, and that's what they got. They got a lot of power.
I think you should go get some help.
I think you should talk to somebody who cares about you and ask them about psychological help. Somewhere, someone has had gas pumped into their room, but I just don't think it's happening with Mary because she's outspoken.
What does she speak out against? I should have asked her that.
I don't know.
Damn it.
You're done.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Bring up what you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. How'd you like to try out the best pillow you may ever use? Nearly risk-free for 60 days. You can go to mypillow.com and use code FTL like Free Talk Live to get your MyPillow at half price, or 2 for the price of 1. It is up to you how many you order. MyPillow.com, code FTL. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using mine now for going up on 2 years, I think, and it's been a wonderful 2 years with the MyPillow. Unlike your regular pillows that you may have used in the past, this one is washable. You can put it in the washer and the dryer. They designed it that way. And it's awesome. MyPillow.com, code FTL. By the way, the pillow is guaranteed to last for 10 years. And the near risk-free aspect is if you don't like it for some reason, you can just go ahead and send it back to MyPillow, and they will send you your purchase price back to you. You got to pay to ship it back, though. So that's the near risk-free aspect of it. MyPillow.com, code FTL for the discount as we go to your calls and thoughts. David is on the line in New Mexico. David, you're on Skype. Go ahead.
Hey, Ian, on the and Darryl, on the topics you've been talking about, I'm calling based on what I've heard, not because I was going to call anyway. But first of all, a memory of mine, I once just about got Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad, to make a dialogue change in one of the scenes in Breaking Bad. He cracked up at my suggested change, but he didn't actually put it in there. But I got one for you, for your MyPillow. When you're doing the MyPillow script, you need to change use to lose. So I've been losing my pillow now for going on 2 years. Best pillow you may ever lose.
How did you lose yours?
No, I'm just making fun of you. I'm teasing you in a kind way.
Oh, you're saying because I left it in a hotel room?
Yeah, I think Mark said you've lost it twice now. Is that what he said?
No, I haven't lost it. I've always remembered where I put it. Just in the case of the most recent one, I was too far away to actually want to turn around to go and get it. So.
Okay, cool.
But I have, because I had other ones.
Yeah, Mark left it when Mark went down to Florida.
He left it here.
He left his, and I had to ship it to him.
What did it cost to ship it down there?
Well, it was not just the pillow. It was
he
a
shipped
pillow,
a whole box full of stuff.
And he also left his jiu-jitsu stuff, so his skis. Okay. So in total, it was like $63.
Because that's about the price of a whole new MyPillow, I think. I think they're like brand new.
Right, but
bucks.
like the backpack full of geese.
Right,
so it wound up being a very large package, and they had to pack it there at the shipping place. And then I think it weighed like 20 pounds altogether.
Anyway, David, other comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, on the you were talking about basically law and rights and morals and such regarding parents, children, the state, other people who are none of the above. And I wanted to comment on that. But first of all, to help you out, and you at your convenience, you can talk to me about when Darryl answered Skype the other day, there was a problem. I mean, was that yesterday, the day before? I don't remember.
Yeah,
and then,
there was some kind of problem where it popped up saying Skype has closed. Do you want to restart? But it still showed that it was open.
Yeah, well, computers.
But I know what's causing that interference, and so at whatever point you want me to brief you on what I have learned from this end,
we don't need to do any tech support on the air. Were you calling for some other reason tonight?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So the questions of rights and law and the state and the parents and the children and other people that are, like I said, none of the above. You had some specific questions on that, and obviously it links to what I've been dealing with. And so I've had lots of time to think about it, and I can offer my opinion on.
Well, go ahead and offer it. You don't have to do all the prep. Just offer the opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Also, and I also want to interject that I've known quite a few different people with Down syndrome, children and adults, and it's characterized as a disorder. It's not a normal desired thing. But I have to say that the Down syndrome people, when they, as children and then as they go into their adult life, they may have other problems, but they're the most loving, joyful people that I've ever met. The people without Down syndrome don't even come close from my experience with them. Don't even come close to being as true, loving, and joyful. With exceptions, there are exceptions, but don't even come close to those with Down syndrome. So,
all right,
factor that, whoever is listening, and factor that into whatever you think about Down syndrome. But on your question of, first of all, I'd like to ask you, so what is the preeminent questions in your mind regarding the issue of children and parents and buying and selling of humans or ownership or any capacity like that? What's on your mind? Because I'd like to address it.
Well,
we've already asked the question like half a dozen times. Just go ahead and give us your thoughts.
Well, the question for those just tuning in, Darryl, I don't want to inaccurately rephrase what you had said, so correct me if I'm wrong. Was what is the difference between selling
from a moral and ethical standpoint? Between
selling a child before it's born,
correct,
compared
which is
to a
what
child
you
after it's
and
born.
Stefan were advocating, which is not currently allowed because it's illegal.
Right, as compared to selling a child after it's born, or
whether it be the day it's born, 3 days later, 3 years, 6 years. What's the ethical and moral difference?
Right. Well, I believe that's already settled. I don't like to talk like a lawyer because I don't like them, but settled law. In no case are you ever selling a human being, whether it's before they're conceived, after they're conceived, in any stage, clear up all the way up to an 8-year-old kid or whatever you're dealing with. Never are you allowed,
right?
And never
you weren't asking about the law, though.
I didn't say what is the legal thing because I know what the legal thing is. I said what is the ethical and moral difference.
The ethical and moral difference between selling, between the
let me rephrase in case you didn't understand. So Ian and Stefan were asking, why don't the anti-abortionists just buy all of the babies that people want to abort? And my response was, because it's illegal, they're not allowed to. But if you were to allow that, then what's the ethical and moral difference between someone saying, I want to pay you for your unborn baby that you don't want, and saying, I will pay you money for the 6-year-old child that you no longer wish to care for?
Right. I don't think there necessarily would be a difference. I would like to answer by saying that under the way that it is, you can't buy and sell unborn children, and you can't
correct.
Buy and sell.
And that's been stated.
Thank you, David, for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, but he did answer the question there. He didn't think there was one. 855-450-3733. Coming up here, you can, of course, bring up anything that you want. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. I get the story here from herb.co. Did you hear about the Pineapple Fund?
I did.
Apparently, what is the Pineapple Fund for listeners that may not have heard about this?
So the Pineapple Fund, very briefly, is a fund set up by an anonymous donor who has about $5,000 worth, or 5,000 Bitcoin.
So
86 million.
It's 76 million today,
roughly,
but
at the time that it was created.
Right.
and set up a thing to where you can apply if you are a nonprofit that is registered and whatnot in your jurisdiction.
Yep.
And you fill out an application stating why you need the funding, what good you are going to do with the funds, and then they're making decisions. And they've thus far handed out funds to 9 different organizations.
They've got them on their website, right? Pineapple Fund?
Yes, pineapplefund.org.
.org. According to herb.co, they've given, and they got the numbers really wrong here. They said that they gave $86 million.
Nope, that's the total committed.
Right.
They've given out... let's see. Let me just do the backwards math. They still have remaining 4,646 Bitcoin.
I read it wrong anyway. They got it right. It says they've pledged to donate $86 million through Bitcoin to charities.
Right. They gave $500,000 to BitGive, $1 million to the EFF,
the Electronic Frontier Foundation.
Yes.
And then recently they decided to award MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, with $1 million, which is one of the organizations that have been putting things like MDMA and psychedelic mushrooms through clinical trials. More coming up.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information, so pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Have you ever wondered who the second person to discover gravity was? When you're in the mood for a treat, would you go to the second best bakery in town? Or how about the name John Breckenridge? Recognize it? If you don't, that's because he came in second to Abraham Lincoln. The firsts are first for a reason. Just how ID Stronghold was the first to create the technology to protect your credit cards from thieves with RFID chip scanners. ID Stronghold products block signals from those scanners, so thieves can't capture your critical data. Get a stronghold on your personal information and protect your family too. Don't settle for the second best wallet. Pick up ID Stronghold wallets for everyone on your list this holiday season. They're the perfect stocking stuffer, with leather wallets starting as low as $20 on Walmart.com, eBay, Amazon, and QVC. Save 10% by using coupon code PRESENT for a limited time. That's coupon code PRESENT only on IDStronghold.com. IDStronghold.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa,
Hey,
who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. If you want to join us, you can. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. We're talking about the Pineapple Fund, which is giving away a bunch of Bitcoin, over 5,000 Bitcoin, to any nonprofit that they deem worthy.
So far, and I'm looking at the website.
Pineapplefund. What was it?
Org.
Okay.
They've given $7.55 million US dollars worth of Bitcoin so far.
And this has just gotten started. They just started handing out this money this month, basically.
Yes,
in the last couple weeks.
They do have the application form that says closing soon.
Really?
Yes.
I threw in an application for Shire Free Church for what it's worth. I don't know if they're going to grant to religious organizations or not. Sometimes I know there was a group called like the Bitcoin Hot 100 where they gave out $1,000 worth of Bitcoin to any non-profit secular organization.
Non-religious, non-political. So they also weren't doing anything for political entities.
Unfortunately, that program ended with over 100 Bitcoin left in their wallet, so they never actually ended up giving it all away. They gave it back to the donors who had originally donated it, which was too bad, too, because I was just about ready to get the local homeless shelter on right when they decided to scrap the program. But anyway.
There is the BitGive Foundation that was one of the recipients of
Pineapple?
Yes, funding from the Pineapple Fund.
Well, last week, the cryptocurrency fund pledged to donate 59.89 Bitcoin to MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. And it's worth about $1 million at the time that they donated it. Probably a little bit less today because the Bitcoin price and the other altcoins out there have been taking a tumble over the last 24, 48 hours. They've sort of bounced back a little bit, but still way down below their peak earlier this week. I think it was a peak of close to 20,000. Right now at the Bitstamp price, it's just over 14,400 for one Bitcoin. At this moment. So that may be the correction that people were talking about. It went down as far as 11,000, nearly to 11,000 US dollars per Bitcoin within the last day. So was that the big, bubble popping? I mean, you're talking about a 50% loss basically in the price of a Bitcoin. Is that how you define a bubble pop? Because your bubble popped and now it's back on the way up. It seems like. So we're going to keep an eye, obviously, on the price of Bitcoin. But I'm sure MAPS is appreciative, regardless of whatever the price of Bitcoin is, to have 60 of them donated to them. The money will go toward the final round of trials necessary to get MDMA, often called ecstasy on the street, on the market as a treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder as soon as 2021. Last summer, the trials were granted breakthrough therapy designation by the FDA, a rare move used to recognize when a treatment that's been researched shows significant improvement over treatments already available to patients. I mean, just the fact that a government agency has said anything positive about MDMA for anything, for any purpose, is pretty amazing. So maybe there is a chance that we're going to see something change.
Well, there's always a chance. It might be a 1 in 5 billion chance, but there's always a chance.
Maybe we'll see a decent chance that something will happen here. This new designation of the breakthrough therapy designation will fast-track the treatment's approval process. Now, of course, with government, fast-track means it won't take an entire lifetime. It'll take, several years.
It might only take 1 or 2 years instead of 20.
And last week, they got one step closer with the help of the Bitcoin boom. MAPS founder and executive director Rick Doblin said in a statement thanking the Pineapple Fund for its generosity, quote, "The blockchain community is helping to lead the way, not only in decentralized technologies and currencies, but in giving the gift of MDMA-assisted psychotherapy to the world in order to heal trauma and bring greater compassion to psychiatry and medicine," he said. MAPS is the nonprofit that's played a key role in the psychedelic renaissance. It's currently working to collect enough money to continue their MDMA trials. They've set a fundraising goal of $26 million, and the donation from the Pineapple Fund has put them at $18.3 million remaining. It was a total surprise, said MAPS's Brad Burge. The team of researchers first heard of their donation through Reddit on Wednesday night and applied without, or first heard of the donations, and they applied without any expectations. Thursday morning, they posted our logo on Reddit, and we checked our Bitcoin wallet, and there it was, he said. MAPS began accepting cryptocurrencies in 2013, but has never received a donation of this size. Still, Bitcoin and other online currencies have made up over $120,000 worth of their donations in just the last 4 years.
Nice.
That's nothing to turn your nose up at. And since Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies can allow relatively anonymous donations to things that may be a little bit hard to donate to otherwise for some people, like MAPS, then this is very helpful. Cryptocurrencies, of course, have grown almost 50,000% since MAPS first started collecting them, with one Bitcoin worth over, as of today, $14,000 US. Quote, "If we had chosen to hold on to all of the Bitcoin that we've gotten, things would be a bit different now," said Burge with a laugh. But the nonprofit is not up for gambling with research which has proven to help patients with treatment-resistant PTSD. Quote, "We don't want to be in the position of losing $1 million when the research is moving forward." And a lot of people, kick themselves over having sold Bitcoin back in the past.
Yeah.
But ultimately, these guys are pointing out, hey, if we didn't sell it, then yeah, we could do more today, but we needed to do something right then with it. So.
Right. And entities like MAPS, they're, again, needing to do something with the funding today.
Anyway, yeah.
When I, 6 years ago and almost 2 weeks, sold 5.94 Bitcoin for $16. I didn't need the $16. It wasn't Darryl's going to starve or not being able to pay.
What did you do with that $16?
Hell if I know.
So yeah, you didn't have to pay the rent or something.
Yeah,
like
it
that.
wasn't a thing of my lights get turned off if I don't have $16 more dollars.
How many years ago was it?
6.
No, you weren't even here 6 years ago.
I know I wasn't here.
Oh, so you had them before you moved here?
I was in San Antonio and sold them to Mark Edge.
Oh, wow.
Because we had connected via Facebook.
So before you even moved up here, you sold Bitcoin. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
In a period of a couple of months, I sold like 16 Bitcoin.
And were you taking them for book purchases back then? How'd you get them?
Yeah, I took them for purchases. People were like, hey, can I give you this Bitcoin thing?
Right. And of course, a book back then would have cost a few Bitcoin because Bitcoin would have been like $3 per Bitcoin or something like that. So,
yeah.
So for every packet of paper that you sent to somebody through the mail, you were being given something that 5 years later was worth $15,000.
Yeah.
It's hard not to kick yourself over that, but
the things where, like I actually needed to sell the Bitcoin, or even, I want to go buy a beverage from Corner News. I want to buy lunch. I don't kick myself for those.
Yeah.
But the things where I just sold the Bitcoin to sell the Bitcoin.
Right, because at that time you didn't see the vision, you didn't know what, nobody could have known what was coming, but some people certainly saw the potential for it. And while I saw the potential, I'm just not the investor type. So like I remember when I first heard about the Silk Road, I'm like, this is brilliant. I mean, this underground marketplace idea, brilliant. And had I been like a smart investor-minded person, I'd have gone out and bought a whole bunch of them right when I realized, this is a really good idea. This might actually work out. But no, instead I was just like, that's a really good idea. And didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Thank goodness Roger Veer is a good friend of the show and was a sponsor for us back then, and he kind of dragged us into it. Much appreciated there. So anyway, there's your the news story. There's another interesting headline we're not going to get into, but the study done on the magic mushrooms and rebooting the brain in depressed people according to a study, that magic mushrooms may effectively reset the activity of key brain circuits known to play a role in depression. That's according to the latest study to highlight the therapeutic benefits of psychedelics. And then they, talk about images of patients' brains revealed changes in brain activity that were associated with marked and lasting reductions in depressive symptoms.
And do they mention whether this is full dose, micro dose? Are they taking it while visiting a therapist?
I presume.
Are they just given, take a micro dose at home?
Yeah, this is the microdosing. So they were given 10 milligram and 25 milligram, or excuse me, microgram gross. I think they're using the wrong terminology here. MG. I don't think that's microgram normally. I think that's milligram normally, but MG should be micrograms when we're talking about. Oh, no, sorry. I was thinking LSD. So 10 milligrams. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a lot. I'll tell you that. Because normally if you're taking mushrooms, you have to eat the mushroom, and it's hard to measure the dose. You can measure the weight of the mushroom, but if you're eating the caps versus the stems, there's going to be more psilocybin in the caps versus the stems. So
But then there's also things where you can do the psilocybin extract, and then it's in some liquid.
That happens. You generally don't find that in the black market, but as I understand it, those are available on the darknet markets. Liquid versions of psilocybin. Hey, we're out of time for tonight. Check out Darryl over at fpp.cc, and we'll see you tomorrow. freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to bipcot.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie.